What is hyperfocal distance and how to focus according to that? Stay with me and let's talk a little bit about this topic. Hello YouTubers, my name is Attila Mate from Blue Sky Photography, and today I'd like to talk to you about hyperfocal distance and how to focus according to that, how to achieve hyperfocal distance in your landscape photography. Now, these days it's very easy to figure out the hyperfocal distance. I don't know. I'm sorry if I don't pronounce very well. I pronounce hyperfocal distance. Maybe it's hyperfocal distance. I don't know. Please excuse me. This is English is not my first language, so it might be wrong. I don't know. So these days it's very easy to figure out the hyperfocal distance because you can have various hyperfocal distance calculators on your mobile device or on your iPad or whatever, But every photographer should use, I would say, hyperfocal distance calculator because it is very important in landscape photography, and it is a very, very big help to achieve some creative shots. Now, what is hyperfocal distance? Hyperfocal distance is there's a point in the front of your lens, in the front of your camera. If you focus on that point, the foreground and the background, it will be in focus until infinity. Now you have to know what to do and how to focus to achieve this, and that's why there are some calculators where you can check this hyperfocal distance, and you can focus on that point roughly. Where in my time when I was learning photography, many years ago, you didn't really have hyperfocal distance calculators, and we used to have some charts, where you could get approximately the distance from your camera. Where is that point in regards, if what kind of camera you are using, what kind of lens are you using, what kind of f-stop are you using, and such of details. When you check all those details, you could see in that chart roughly how many meters in the front of you there is the hyperfocal distance point. Now, I think that this is in landscapes exceptionally important because you get the foreground and the background in focus until the infinity. So I will show you on my mobile device. I will show you, I will try to record my screen, my mobile device's screen. So I will put that in the video, so you will be able to see what I see on my mobile device, and I will show you how to use this hyperfocal distance calculator. And I think that every photographer should use that. So let's see in my mobile device. So we are in my mobile phone now, and as you can see over here down on the left side, I have Hyperfocal Pro. This is an app that I open up this app, and you can see over here that there is this is the calculator. Now you have to put in some details over here in order to get the results. So I put in here, let's say, a Nikon D7200. Like you can see over here, you can get all kind of cameras, brands and models and all kind of. I think that the majority of the cameras are over here. So you can choose Nikon D7200. Now on this side, you have to put in what kind of lens do you use. Obviously, if you are using for landscape, you will use a wide-angle lens. If you do portraits, you use a longer lens. But let's say at the moment we use a 24mm lens. And what kind of aperture are you using? Now, if again, most of the time every lens has its own sweet spot. I call it sweet spot. That is the aperture where the lens performs the best. Now, I would say that it's pretty important to know, like I all the time say, it's important to know your gear very well. It is important to know also that your lens, in which aperture it behaves best. Because if you want the sharpest and the cleanest image, you have to be able to set the camera and the lens according to that. So if the example, I know that my lens performs very well at f5.6 f8, around that region, you know, like, so if I put f8 in it, and then you say the subject distance. Now subject distance, this is very important if you want to shoot a portrait, because then you must type in what is your distance from the subject. If you shoot a landscape, then you can type this, you can put this higher, you know, yeah, like you can say let's say 24 meters from you, let's say. Now, as you can see over here at the bottom of the screen, it will show you the depth of field, which means the depth of field starts from 3 meter and 31 centimeter from you, and it is until the infinite. Now, as you can see, the hyperfocal distance is up there at 3 meter and 85 centimeter. That means roughly it is at 4 meter. So if you focus at 4 meter, the depth of field will start at 3 meter and 31 centimeter, and it will be far at the infinite. Now, if you increase your distance from the subject, let's say we increase my distance to 100 meter, that means that I make a wide landscape. So if I increase that to 100 meter, and I hit yes, you can see that again the hyperfocal distance is at 3 meter and 85 centimeter, and the depth of field starts at 3 meter and 69 centimeter. So the depth of field will start usually before the hyperfocal distance. So you will have a little bit on the foreground and until the infinite in focus. Now, like I told you, this is very important in landscape photography, because in the landscape photography, obviously, you want everything in focus. Now, if you increase the aperture, if you go up higher, so like I set over here f8, but if I set f16, you will see that the near limit, it will come closer to you. So the example, the hyperfocal distance is at 2 meters, and the depth of field starts at 1 meter 87 centimeter and until the infinite. And if you go higher up, you know, I go at FF22, you see that it comes even closer. So that means that if you close down your aperture, you know, if you stop down your aperture more and more, the depth of field will come closer to you. Now, you have to understand, this is very important, that your lens might not perform the best at these aperture values like f22, f16. You must be sure that it is good for you. If not, I would suggest you to shoot at f8. It's better to shoot at f8 than to shoot at f16, you know, because after that you can crop out that side of the image where is the foreground, which is not in focus. Obviously, if you want something, if you want some creative effect or something, you can play around with it, you know, that's not an issue. But if you want everything in focus, then you can crop out that area, you know, from the picture. But it will better, the picture will be much better, you know, if you shoot on the aperture value where your lens performs better, the best. So I hope that I could explain to you what is hyperfocal distance and how to calculate, and I hope that you understand why it is important. Because if you are a landscape photographer, if you want to be a landscape photographer, you will have to use this, and I would say that it is very important to use this. So I hope this video was helpful to you guys, and I hope that you liked it. If you liked it, please like and subscribe. If you have any question, or if you think that I left something out and it is very important, please leave a comment down below, and I can answer that as soon as possible and best of my knowledge. If you don't understand something, or if you want to ask something, you know, please feel free to leave a comment down below, and I will try to help you best of my knowledge. So I hope that you will have a nice day, and other than that, I wish you a great week and see you in the next one. Take care, guys.